Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, to the second half of the show of Truth Tuesday. We were over on Elisa's channel, and she started without me. Did
I
some
did.
weird voodoo on my computer. It's weird. That link, it's odd. Very, very odd.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to Benny. I went and picked up a little present for Sean.
Yes, that was very nice.
Mailing it out to Sean.
It's a silver Bitcoin from
I
me, which is super, super cool.
think it's very cool. I like it.
And I'm very, very thankful. Okay. Welcome, everyone. We got a lot of people here already. Geez. Tom's always here fast.
It's Tom on the spot.
Time to spatchcock a chicken.
What?
Spatchcock a chicken.
Spatchcock.
Good enough time.
Never heard that term.
Spatchcock a chicken?
Mm-mm.
I don't believe you. I think you're lying to me. Why are you lying to me about this? This is the weirdest thing you've ever done.
I've never heard the term spatchcock.
Your mom raised chickens. You were around chickens.
Yeah, never heard it.
Why are you punking me on this? This doesn't
I'm
make sense.
not. I've never heard spatchcock chicken. Can you see my mother saying that?
Yeah, anyone that does anything with chickens. I think you have more chicken knowledge than I do.
I may have more chicken knowledge, but I do not have chicken slang.
It's not slang. It's how to cook a chicken.
Spatchcock?
Yeah, you like cut it in half, you smash it, breaks the bones, and you flat.
Never heard of it.
No, it's really good. Ted makes it a really good spatchcock chicken.
I heard of brick chicken, which is similar to that.
Is it?
Like they take a brick and smash it and cook it like that.
That okay. That sounds pretty caveman. What a brick chicken. What's this? This is what we call poison chicken. Why? Don't ask.
For you to say that like spatchcock is like the appropriate way to say brick chicken. Brick chicken sounds caveman like.
That was well. I beat it with a brick.
I cook it with a brick.
We'll be spatchcocking the bird today. And then it's like we're gonna beat this bird with a brick and then eat it. What kind of brick are you using? Oh, that's tenderize it. A cleaned and organized.
Who's there? Who's there?
No one comes to these doors. No one. Hey, someone just knocked on the French doors over here.
So now you know that you're being served.
That was a bit forceful, wasn't it?
Or punked, yeah, or swatted. Of course, do they knock when they swat you?
They just came in. Oh, hello.
What's up, mother truckers? I said I'd come in and yell, and your mods told me to do it. So I did.
My mods?
Yeah. I love you, bye.
Love you too, bye. I was watching the show, and she was in the chat and said she was coming in here. Okay. Pay attention to the chat. Jeez, okay.
I don't see anyone in the chat talking about that. So.
I know you hear me. Let me in the window. Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'm fitting a knock on the door.
I think she meant fixing.
Yes, I know.
Too.
You hear me. Let me in the window. Okay, well, there we go.
That's a good Southern girl. She's fixing too.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was not going to say that we're live. I was hoping she'd come in here and then catch her on because she used to like not let people take pictures of her because she would say it would, she would lie to people and say it was part of her religion. She thought she would lose her soul or something, but she just didn't like people taking pictures of her. That's pretty funny.
Whatever it takes.
Right. What were we talking about? Oh,
brick chicken.
No, spatchcock chicken. Yeah. Spatchcock chicken.
Okay, what were you?
A clean, organized.
Before that, we were talking about the banks.
No, I was clean, organized 2 freezers.
Oh, okay.
Like small freezer and then the big freezer, and I made chicken sausage a very long time ago. Like I ground all the chicken up, and then I like made breakfast sausage, Italian sausage, and like maple breakfast sausage, and it was so good. And we ate it.
Really?
And we got tired of it because I made like 30 pounds of it.
Mhm.
So in the back of the freezer, I found all these like vacuum sealed packs of the sausage. So I was like happy because I found that sausage, and I made breakfast burritos for
I wouldn't think a
breakfast today.
chicken would be very good as sausage
This was
because it's
amazing.
not very fatty, and
Yeah.
you'd have to add a lot of seasoning, spices, and stuff.
Well, you just add the usual seasonings, and I put olive oil into it. When I made it.
Oh, okay.
So it's better than like just animal fat because olive oil. But yeah,
A healthy
Bambi,
alternative.
Bambi, Bambi, Bam, Bam, Bambi. She was slamming on the door.
She just came to spatchcock a chicken.
Yeah,
That's cute.
she has a lot of chickens.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
She can get some eggs.
she used to give me eggs. This like egg, and also when you eat her eggs because you're like, I'm not eating Auntie Janie's eggs. That's gross. But I eat eggs. And then, speaking of the breakfast burritos,
Oh, is she who the boys wouldn't eat her chickens?
her eggs, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, Alex will only eat professional eggs, professionally regulated
Professional
eggs.
eggs.
Today, he said.
Oh,
So
gosh,
I
that's
made those
cute.
breakfast burritos. And we have these turkey eggs, which I don't know if you ever had turkey eggs. They're my
I've
favorite
never
eggs.
had turkey eggs,
They're my
but
favorite eggs now. They're awesome.
okay, cool.
Because you know how duck eggs are like darker, and you can tell different kinds of eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey eggs are just like regular eggs, but they're bigger. They have that harder shell,
Oh, okay, cool.
but they're anyway. But I made them with a bunch of regular eggs and then 2 turkey eggs that we have. And Alex won't eat any kind of eggs that are not, regular chicken eggs
White
from the store.
professional chicken eggs. GMO eggs
So we're
only.
eating the eggs, we're eating the burrito, and they're like, "Oh, it's so good! Oh, the breakfast burritos are delicious." And then Ted's like, "What kind of eggs are these? Just regular eggs?" I was like, "They're like 70, like 60%, regular eggs, and then there's like 2 of those turkey eggs." And Alex just went and just dropped his burrito after he already ate one. It was the second burrito, and then he's like, "Oh, I feel sick now.
Wow.
It's hurting my stomach."
Oh my Lord.
It's like they don't taste any different. It's like turkey eggs are now my favorite eggs. Okay.
So the kids, Joshy and Paigey at the Pebbleton Post have been doing a lot of like, some prepper, but some freedom movement kind of education stuff. And they did a interview with this lady, Marjorie, that she raises chickens. She does a lot of really cool, like sustainable farming kind of stuff. But she also gives people like alternatives, like if you're in an apartment, well, you can't really have chickens, but what could you have? And she gave a suggestion of quail.
I was just say quail eggs are good. They're just small.
Yeah, because you could still raise quail in an apartment. They even make like incubators and stuff. And they aren't loud like chickens, so you wouldn't be disrupting your neighbor. They actually don't smell bad as long as you're keeping it clean and healthy, their environment. And they're not noisy. They actually have like a nice little calm sound, like a pet, so you could have like a couple 6 little quail or 8 little quail in your apartment and get eggs. They're just smaller little eggs, but still sustainable, I don't know. I thought it was interesting to kind of think outside the box like
It
that.
is interesting. My the boy's friend Alex, who always comes over for family night, he has quails.
Okay.
He does. He raises quails. I think they have like 2 or 3 chickens. But Bambi stick figure, he will not eat any other eggs except chicken eggs. And
Bantam chicken. Yeah, the little ones. Yeah, you could do that too. That's a great idea.
yeah, those are small.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had an ostrich egg before, but I'm not sure. Like in an omelet or something.
Oh.
Funny story. When I was a baby, my mom was married to my dad, and they ran like a halfway house for like mentally challenged people, I don't know. I was a baby, but it was in the city, the grossest city in the whole world, Patterson, New Jersey, and I think it's the birthplace of the Hell's Angels. Anyway, so they went on a field trip to like a safari zoo kind of thing,
Oh, uh-huh.
and they lost one of the people. And
That's concerning.
they found him. He was riding ostriches and was sleeping in their nest with all the eggs and the ostriches. I remember that I thought it was the
Oh,
weirdest thing when I was a kid. I was like probably 3.
because you didn't understand that they had mental challenges and
No, I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't understand that they had like.
yeah, because when you're little, you don't
I knew they had like problems or something, but I didn't.
put it all together. Yeah.
Yeah. I also thought it was kind of fun to ride an ostrich and hang out in their nest. But
There you go.
so there's this archaeology team in uh, Camden, South Carolina, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and they found from this Battle of Camden from the Revolutionary War, they unearthed a British soldier. His remains. They call him the Highlander, and he was part of this like super elite shock and awe division of the Redcoats. Um, and they found like 12, I think, U.S. or they're not U.S. They were colonial soldiers. Um, so it was this huge thing. Like both governments got really really involved. Britain sent over a
What
team.
do you mean they found them?
They unearthed them and they were buried. They were barely buried. They found them in a shallow grave. Um, they found the remains of 13
Okay.
soldiers. Um, but like all the flags are half mast. The U.S. government like send in our military. Um, they're like everyone's getting like these super honors and everything, and they can't identify the soldiers, but they identified this one British soldier, and they sent people from the current uh, his unit still around. Um, so the ambassador was involved. I mean, it's like this huge thing, and then they had this like they had like a pre kind of burial thing where they put them on caskets, and they were all there in their kilts and everything, and then they had a motorcade from the battle area all the way up to whatever the fort is, our military base there.
Arlington or no? Just in that state.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
it's a big what's basic training, so it's a really huge base, and like the streets are lined with like all the like just regular folks from the town, and then just tons of military, like they all were just lined up. Everyone's like saluting as the motorcade goes by. It's like this huge thing.
Acting completely different than when Joe Biden drives down the street.
It was nuts, but it was weird because this dude's he was like the enemy, and they were. It was just odd that he was but they're going to bury after all that. This British soldier is going to be buried in the U.S. with the other 12 soldiers, which I thought was weird. They're not taking him back. He's going to be buried here, which I thought was odd. I thought there was like
I don't know why that's so surprising or significant. Like there was a war here, people would die. I'm sure they didn't like bury them all
I'll send you a
regulation.
link and you can bring it up. I don't think I've watched this one. I didn't know it was this big of a story. I just
Yeah, I don't
I
understand
watched
why
it the other day, and now when I try to find it, there's like just so much. Every time I look up Revolutionary War soldiers, anything that it was like the Highlander.
Ah. Okay.
Have y'all heard about it? Let me ask Sean to make you a mod. I'm too crazy to be. I was going to say that. She's too crazy to be a mod. Yes. At least she admits it. Steak with pickle juice? That might be a good idea. You know, I was I'm going to make steak for my niece, Bambi's daughter, and she really likes pickles. And I wanted to buy like a cheap big, roast and cut it. I might do that. I might. But if you marinate too long, doesn't it kind of brine like corned beef?
14 Revolutionary War soldiers.
Okay. You can't hear it. Oh, you have it muted.
Well, I turned it down because you were talking.
In the middle of the night, about 2:30, there was a skirmish, and then throughout the night, both sides deployed and prepared for battle in the morning.
Smith says a fierce battle took place between the sides and estimates between 300 and 400 soldiers lost their lives.
It's August 16th. You can imagine how hot and humid it was. And it was in a big woods, open woods, large trees. We don't know how many of those people were buried. Every one of the gentlemen we find, except the British soldier, was buried very shallowly.
The battle was a loss for the American army, but as we all know, they would eventually win the revolution and gain freedom from the United Kingdom. For Revolutionary War reenactor Jonathan Holland, who was in attendance, all this is about remembering the lives lost fighting for the country.
For every man and woman that stood up for our cause, that's made our country, whether they had to do it peacefully or they had to take up arms to do it. That's what makes our country the country we are today.
Smith tells me there's already been a number of families who have reached out to his office to see if they're related to the 14 soldiers, but he says it will likely take years to complete all the DNA testing. In Camden, I'm Nate Stanley for News 19 WLTX.
I just don't get it. Okay.
Here, I think I found the one that I looked at. This is the one. It's weird that like Britain. Here, send it to you. Britain sent over all those people, and then they're not taking it back. I thought that was odd. You see it?
Yeah, hold on. You always have to send it to me, and then I have to play it.
Yes, you just do it.
Well, just you should do it.
Then I have to. Here we go.
Memorialized
He's
and
British.
reinterred the
Why
early
would he be
remains
wearing a
of
kilt?
13 of the 14 found hastily buried in
He's
this
a Highlander.
He's British.
Thousands turned out in South Carolina to mourn,
Scottish,
and it was a funeral like no other. Honouring British and American sacrifices from the 18th century after archaeologists made a remarkable discovery. On this soil in 1780, the Battle of Camden claimed the lives of thousands. It was one of many hard-fought conflicts against British rule that eventually led to the creation of the United States of America.
This is not only a once in a career, but never in a career opportunity.
Creation of the United States of America.
To be able to help understand who these individuals were and how they may have died. The Highlander was our deepest buried individual, much more than the other individuals. Some people were this far below the surface. You could really witness from the burial context how hastily buried they were, and historical accounts of some not having been buried at all. The day that we exhumed him, someone brought a bottle of scotch to commemorate the event and give him a toast.
Soldiers from 2nd Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, flew over especially to be pallbearers for the remains of one of those unearthed here. His heritage traces back to the British 71st Regiment of Foot, Fraser's Highlanders, a Scottish regiment formed for the Revolutionary War.
It's something that's very humbling and I think thought-provoking in terms of thinking back at the history, and then also hundreds of years later being able to be involved in giving the soldier the send-off he deserves is something that I'll be proud in years to come of.
Across all three services, we have 850 service personnel across 30 states out here working and literally, hand in glove, the closest military relationship we have. working extremely closely with all of the US services. It's a relationship we really cherish.
So we're all operationally experienced soldiers, but to lay a soldier to rest in the battlefield where he died almost 250 years ago, I think adds a sense of significance for us. And it's not lost on us that we've got soldiers in our battalion who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in recent operations as well.
We're just mesmerized by the fact that Great Britain chose to fly them here from Scotland to do this.
That was
I think
interesting.
for
Did
both
you see how the
nations,
difference of
it's
the okay, the difference of the flags on the caskets. Something
Operations
was
as well.
wrong.
we're just mesmerized by the fact that Great Britain chose to fly them here from Scotland.
Does that matter or mean anything? Look how, like, our flag's not hanging down.
It's
How
not
theirs
that,
is
not that
draped.
big. Ours is not as big, which is odd because there's supposed to be so many stripes, isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something's wrong there.
There's obviously not 50. Oh, maybe it's folded because look at the stars. There's not 50 stars.
Oh yeah, it is folded. The stars are folded there. Why would that be like that?
Also, it looks like a better quality flag for the U.S. Maybe they bought that flag from the like a fair or something. The British flag looks kind of like a cheap
So
belt.
usually that means something. Like, remember at Bush's, or not, was it, yeah, Bush's funeral, and at McCain's, because he's a traitor, they had his flag all crumpled up.
Do you have Bush's chicken in Oklahoma?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you have Cane's chicken?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bush's chicken's really
I
good.
don't eat it, but
Bush's chicken's really, really good. We have it here.
anyway, I would love for if somebody knows what that means.
Yeah, all I know is the gold fringe one. And there's there's like 2 or 3 things with the flag. There's a lot of little symbolism-y things with the flag.
I just know that probably means something.
But I thought it was weird they did all that and that they're not taking the body back.
Oh, it does mean something.
Do you think maybe because they lost and they
didn't lose?
Why would they take it back? Why would they take him back?
Officially 68. Proud to see honor given regardless of national. The Brits were our adversary a long time ago. Now brothers in arms. Never too late to pay our respects. Do
you know the story of the Free State of Jones?
No.
Really?
No.
Well, it was during the Civil War.
Okay.
And there was a soldier for the Confederacy here in the South. He was a medic and a soldier. And it's weird to hear what they talked about, but it just shows nothing changes. And he hated war. He was a medic. He was trying to save soldiers, and then he basically said that it's just rich people. We're fighting and dying for rich people, just like all through history. There's lords and knights that sit up on the hill, and the people are down in the mud dying, and Southern's, well, we're fighting for our way of life, and states' rights and independence and blah. And he's like, no, we're just fighting for rich assholes. We're fighting for plantation owners on one side. We're fighting for industrialists on the other side.
Right.
It's just, it's bullshit. So he deserted. He left, took his family, and he started his own free state. And
I think I started watching this movie.
There's a movie about it, Matthew McConaughey's.
Yes.
And he met up with like slaves on the run.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, welcome to join, come to my country, free state of Jones. And the, Confederate Army went after him. He's like, hey, you're a deserter. He's like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with, your country.
Then, or the other side.
This is my, yeah, you're all
Yeah.
they're all corrupt. He said that back in the 1800s, you're all corrupt. I can see it. And he said, we're starting America the way it was supposed to be started. Basically, this is my own country, and we don't want anything to do with y'all. And they're like, no, we're gonna come get you. And they killed the fuck out of everybody. There's a quote from Robin Hood that one man defending his home is worth 10 hired soldiers.
Yes.
And so this was not just like slaves on the run or that were getting their freedom. They had their own country. They were trying to make something and start. So they were like vicious and badass.
So is this about bringing us all together and getting rid of the parties, about uniting us, we the people, not just in America, but like with other countries as well, like getting rid of the they and the us? Is this a symbolic act? No?
What?
This burial, and like, is this because that war, we thought that we were leaving the civil or the British and all that. We thought we were leaving the crown and fighting for our rights and all that. But then instead we actually lost and were sold out. And, then the ink came and all that. And it's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been free.
We have been free. There came certain points where we, even if you believe all that,
pay off your house, you don't pay your taxes, they're going to come take it from you.
Yeah, I'm talking about free from British rule. There's people that believe we never actually won, that it was like kind of a behind the
right.
There was like the little scam, and we gave money to Britain forever. We still paid them. We were still, it was like all for the people, and it was all a front that we never actually won. That's a thought. But there came a point where the British Empire started to decline and the American Empire was really taking off, where we told Britain, fuck you. And they completely backed down. We told France, fuck you. And they showed up with a warship in New York Harbor. And so that is something. But it's like we had a bunch of, I think it was gold or silver. And, we gave Britain and paper notes. They're like, here, that's enough for you. And they're like, well, no, we want our gold. We want our actual physical gold. And we said, well, fuck off. No, you can't have it. And they said, oh, well, you're mean. And then France, we said, hey, here's these paper notes. And France said, no, we want our gold. And we were like, no, you take the paper notes. And France showed up in New York Harbor with a warship and said, we're here to get our gold or else. And we said, okay, here's your gold. We told French, they wanted the gold. Yeah, 1970. It was 1973. I thought it was way back then, way before that.
I think that's right, because Nixon closes the window in 71, and then they forced the hand after that, right?
Yeah, 70.
I think that's
There's
right.
so many things in history that I look back and just like, imagine if that wouldn't have happened. Imagine if something would have been exposed. Imagine if the truth would have came out about like JFK, or it wouldn't have happened. If we wouldn't have been taken off the gold standard. There's just so many things. If something would have been exposed. If 9/11 was an alternate story. And did you hear the truth bomb that Chuck Carlson dropped?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about Building 7.
Building 7, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's weird is that's like a big thing. If you want to talk to someone about conspiracy theories, and people are just completely closed-minded, bring up Building 7. Because if you're over 40 you remember that. If you're over really like 37, you were a kid, but you were old enough to know what was happening. You were watching the TV. You saw all that happen. And you can ask most people how many buildings were destroyed in New York. And it's like two, the World Trade Center, 2 World Trade Center buildings. And if you tell them, no, there's a 3rd World Trade Center building that was destroyed, that also fell, they'll look at you like, what? And I'm like, dude, you're 45 years old. You were glued to the TV. You were watching it. You saw it happen. That building fell way after the other 2, like 30 minutes later, an hour later or something. And it was way, way later. So it was completely covered. It was completely filmed. You can't find hardly anything on it, any film on it now on the internet, except for it's like a special that 60 Minutes did on it to explain how it happened, how never before in architectural history a fire broke out like in the break room that caused the entire building to collapse in on itself, which is an architectural
impossibility.
Miracle that that technology just was invented in the 70s. Before they had to beat a building with a big ball on a crane for days. That's how they got buildings to be destroyed. That to make explosions where a building would collapse in on itself, that it was like space age engineering, like a marvel. I remember like when they first started taking down high rise in like Vegas that way. And it was like this cool thing.
They would show them, they'd feature them on TV like it was this big, event.
Yeah, it's like, look what they can do now. Before, that literally was. It was like caveman. It was like beat a building with a wrecking ball. That's what they were for. And it was dangerous. They had to do certain parts of it and they would fall. They'd have to, clear out like blocks around it. It was to just like boom, boom, boom. And it was magic.
Yeah.
And for that to happen naturally, I mean,
it was math.
You can't, if there's a straight row of trees, that's an impossibility. There's nothing that doesn't happen in nature. You're taught that.
Except in the Yuma Desert.
Well, you're taught that in grade school, that in the universe, there's no such thing as a perfect straight line. If you see trees those are man-made. So to say, oh, there was a fire in the break room and 32 minutes later, the building falls. And then, but when you're talking to people, they're like, no, there was no 3rd building. That didn't happen. No planes flew. It's like no planes flew into it, but a World Trade Center building collapsed in on itself like 30 minutes after the first 2 did.
Well, and there's more and more of that coming out.
Once you show people that video, they're like, oh my God, I remember that. And then you just ask them, why do you think you forgot that? And that's when it all clicks, dude. That's when
goes to the video that I shared on my channel on the first half of our show of Laura Logan explaining why, because that DARPA weapon that Colonel helped use against we the people is why you forgot, because they've weaponized the media. It was a weapon that was to be used against ISIS and all of this, and it's been used against we the people, and now it's coming out. And more truth is coming out.
I was a very good, financial advisor, 20-some-year-old conservative at that time, and I remember everything about it was terrible. I was completely caught up in it, 100%. I hated Dixie Chicks. I mean, the whole thing. I was like hook, line, and sinker. But when it all happened, and it was shocking. When Bush said these words, something in me was like, what? Why would he know that? He said, oh yeah, jet fuel burns very, very hot, much hotter than other fuels. So that would, if the flash burning would melt steel instantly, causing that to get gelatinous, and that's how the building must have fallen. Like it was his hobby, like it was something he was into,
everybody went, okay.
Just odd. Yeah, everyone. But he said it with a lot of confidence. And I remember I was like, oh, well, thanks, Mr. President, Dad. That was, yeah. It was like hearing your uncle talk about, something that like horticulture or something. If he's
and then they immediately focused us on where's the enemy, go kill someone, make someone get vendetta, and then we were all united in hate, and distracted by it instead of having some common sense and taking a minute, have a moment of clarity.
It wasn't hate though. So that's the thing.
Really going on.
It wasn't hate. It was justice. It was completely different because we're not going to get behind hate. That's a whole nother show. I've had some weird thoughts. I'm watching a lot of stuff about how, it looks like white people could be the minority in the United States within the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of like the racism against white people and the hatred against them. And, people are starting to talk about it. People of color are starting to be like, hey, man, this is wrong. The things that people are saying, the things that people are doing, this is messed up. And I don't understand why the people in power that allow this stuff to happen are pushing this in a lot of ways. And you made the thing we're united in hate. We'll never be united in hate because we're not that way. And the neo-Nazis and racists and all that, they've tried to get a coalition, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It hadn't happened. Wasn't going to happen. All in all, overall, most people in the Western world that I could speak to are just, they're not racist. They're not hateful. They want to be united.
Huh? Yeah, that's true.
It's not going to happen. But
especially when you meet the person, when you talk to the person.
If you're scared, as we saw with COVID, people will do anything. They'll accept anything. So if you can get people, I've never been scared. I grew up in the ghetto, in the inner city. I would walk alone as a 7-year-old child, take the bus like 2 counties over into the heart of Atlantic City, into the middle of the ghetto, get off the bus, walk through blocks and blocks of the ghetto alone, a white-haired little kid, to where my mother ran an after-school program in the middle of the ghetto, and then hang out there all night. Never was worried about anything. Was never scared of anything. I never scared of any ethnicity. So, but I think by making people scared, I don't think you do it now. I'd be scared to go to the same place and just walk around, even if you're smiling and hey, there's people who hate you because you're white. So, and I don't like that. I don't like that I would be worried about it, that I'd be scared. But honestly, I would be. And there's bad things that happened to me when I was a kid, and I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand that someone was like didn't like me, or like I got jumped by a gang when I was like 8, and but what happened is everybody in the ghetto got pissed, and they all showed up at these people's houses, and their parents came out, and they had their asses beat by their parents in front of everyone. It was hilarious. So, but so I think the whole plan might be to create, instead of trying to unite everyone in hate, to unite everyone in fear.
Yes, I totally agree with
you. That's where we're being pushed, and that's the only thing that makes sense for this agenda. That's the only thing that makes sense for the riots, for everything, is to try to unite people in fear against other minorities.
I totally agree. There's some people out front of my house, like some girl got out of her car and she's like walking down the street, and
I still don't know who those people were taking pictures of my house the other day.
Acting bizarre. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening outside my house. So sorry, I'm trying
white
to.
Truck?
No, it's a like very beat up sedan with like the dude is in a car.
Sedan. I haven't heard the term sedan.
It's a 4-door vehicle.
When I first was driving,
and the girl is walking up and down the street taking pictures.
She is taking pictures?
Yes.
Is she taking pictures with a iPad like my guy was?
Like a pink phone. Now she's opening her trunk and flipping through her phone. And like my phone's about to die. So I don't know if I'm going to get all this on film.
I got Bambi stick figure, a pink gun for Christmas.
You gave her my pink gun?
No, your gun is silver. Rose gold.
You told me mine was pink.
No, yours is rose gold. Yeah.
I just gotta come
I still
see
have to get that sent like this week to you.
I just want to come see you instead, is what I'd like. Now the dude is out of the car.
Get a camera out there. Everybody wants to see.
What is going on? Oh, good. Cody's coming out. My neighbor's coming out to see what's going on.
Cody to the rescue.
He's acting all cool, like he's just checking his mail.
Send some lid downrange. You should be scared to put. Oh, you think
now she's bringing a diaper box to my house. This is a wrong house, honey.
Diaper box?
That is not wrong house. She's on the wrong street.
Did you see what I sent you?
She doesn't realize she's at the wrong street.
Where's my phone, Lisa? What did you do to my phone?
And my phone just died.
What did you do to my phone? Oh. Put my phone on a charge like a responsible adult.
My phone battery dies like crazy. Like, it's insane.
My niece sent me a.
So if this is the new Amazon, is these people that are driving around delivering stuff and completely lost?
Ashton Kutcher sent me a text. It's so weird. It's so weird when he texts me. It's so weird when he texts me.
Look, she's just given up. She just dropped a giant box of Pampers at my front door.
Did you see what I sent you? The text on.
Charlie's yelling at him. You got the wrong house.
Shit, where is it? I did send it to you. What the?
Where'd you send it in?
I don't know, but I just saw this one with. Why?
You send it on.
Dude, there's a text that we have been sent, and this is a vagina lips. Why did he send us?
Oh, please don't talk to me like that.
Why did he? It's in our chat. Did you send that?
No. Are you kidding me?
That was it was public. He sent it.
Oh my God.
Why? Why did he send that?
I don't think he meant to do that.
You said Denise Richards? Is it gonna F you guys up when you realize you've been? Dude, I'm not reading that.
They're so lost. Okay.
Denise Richards.
All right. I'm gonna go.
Wait, I want to talk about that chick. What is it? Where is it? I sent it about the banks. They froze her bank account, and she's like an important person. Did I send it to you?
I can't see anything on my phone because it's dead now, and I can't see anything that you send to me in public on my computer.
Maybe I put it in. Roblox and Roundup?
Oh, I would be able to see that.
Here we go. Man, Telegram is so messed up. Here we go. That's you. No, they froze her bank account. Because she said something, and she's in the government. And this guy was talking about this is what's coming for everyone. They didn't freeze her bank account. The bank said that they're closing her account and she can't have one there because of things that she said, which if you want to go to, let's say you're hungry and you want to go get some food, and you go to McDonald's and they say no,
I would
you
never
can't
go
be
to
here.
McDonald's.
You're on a no service list. You go to Burger King. No, you're on a no service list. You're on a national no service list. Where can you go to get something to eat?
A friend, a neighbor, a local.
A local restaurant, a mom and pop restaurant. We said at the big, I think it was around your channel. We're going over it. That my tweets, what's all being shut out, what's all being pushed out by the big banks, all local banks, all regional
And
banks.
the banks that are being shut down are the local, mom and pop, the small banks.
Exactly.
They're trying to do the big, yeah.
So there's nowhere to go. It's literally the most centralized system becoming way more centralized. No, did you see what did he say about him?
I don't know. I mean, he said a lot of things about him. But all that stuff's coming out, though.
It's not a group chat. I'm not giving you his phone number. Because that would be rude.
That's funny.
It's still weird. It's still weird. And the happy birthday video he sent me I thought it was.
But it's not weird. That's where we have to stop thinking like that. Like no person, that's how we got in this mess, is thinking that our leaders are our leaders. They're not our leaders. Like you say, they're our servants.
He's not a servant, though. He's a very busy fellow.
Right, but he's not elevated. And you see, he's humble, sweet, kind, human. That's the kind of people that we need to be speaking out, be a voice. When you are elevated in by society or whatever, you need to understand it's a burden, it's a responsibility to help others. And which I think he does, those kind of things. Not these, sociopath people that are in office right now,
Yeah. So. I was watching we talk about how every question is like, thank you for your question. Oh,
yes.
I can't. It was like the worst ones. They were confirming judges, and it was so ridiculous. And Kennedy, he's like, look, I understand that you're coached on what to say, what not to say. I get it, but you guys are not answering that question. All you do is thank me for my question. And then he started playing along. Like he's like, yeah, but what about this? What do you think about this? And he's like, well, thank you for your question. He goes, oh, you're welcome. Every time they would say, like, oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you like it. He was having fun with it. I was like, man, I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with it. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, it's really difficult to deal with, for sure. For sure. But we're getting there. We're making progress. I mean, there is more and more truth coming out, whether it's the, Tucker talking about Building 7, Laura Logan talking about the DARPA weaponization of media, the Oklahoma City bombing officer, that they're now investigating his claims after, going back and looking at his murder, not suicide. All of those things are coming out. So
do you remember
more and more hope?
Remember Whitewater? Vince Foster. Do you remember the Vince Foster heart attack? This was the beginning. This was the beginning of, this is the Clinton list, probably in the middle. It was right during Whitewater. Vince Foster was a lawyer that handled a lot of that stuff. And he got subpoenaed. He was going to talk about it. It was very damning for the Clintons.
Okay.
And nothing wrong with him. And then all of a sudden he had a heart attack. And we still had a media back then. And people were like, why is anyone looking into this? This is very odd. People should look into it. And that's when people started to be like, hey, why is there 80% of the bodyguards that are connected to the Clintons seem to have died, after
they start going into the Clinton body count.
That was the beginning of it, was because of Foster. I forget what brought this up, but yeah, that was I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and how that was that was the start of how the media was like quiet on stuff. Because I remember Rush Limbaugh was like, I think one reporter, they could be the next, huge, who are the ones that did that exposed Deep Throat, they could be the next big, reporter, someone that would look into this. It looks pretty shady. And I didn't know back then that what all we're in store for. And they've finally been quiet. I know that she wants to run, and that, but I think that I think if she pushes it, it'll be their end. Like, I think everyone knows, hey man, there's just too much, especially with the connection. Hillary.
She's dead.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yes.
No. But I think if she tried to, I think that would be their downfall now. I think with the Epstein stuff, there's just too much. That it's like, you out of sight, out of mind. Don't, the media won't talk about it, but don't come out of the shadows. You got to fade away. You're done. So I think if they do try to come back, that'll be it. It'll be done. And if they go down, so much else goes down, or should go down. Alice, your butt's in the camera.
Oh, there was yeah. I mean, so much is coming out right now. If she's still alive, then hopefully she'll be brought to trial, preferably at the spa, and we can all watch it on closed circuit TV and watch her give her testimony and before they take her out. That would be my hope.
Thank you for your question. I'm not a biologist.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know why they confirmed that woman as a judge when she said that. Literally, that is like, you're going to rule on women's issues. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what one is, then sorry. I mean, there has to be some kind of line,
It's frustrating to watch, but
all right. Well,
I still think we're making progress.
I think we're headed for flames.
Yeah, we have to be. This old system has to die, and that's what's happening. And so we need to start planning for the future and building new stuff.
Is that the Timothy McVeigh?
Yeah, the Oklahoma City bombing. Well, he didn't actually do it, but that's who they blamed, was Timothy McVeigh. This is an officer who was there and rescued 4 people, or pulled 4 people from the building, and he was set to receive the Medal of Valor for his actions. But a day before the ceremony, he was found dead. They said that he apparently cut his wrists and bled out in his car, but then ran for more than a mile and then shot himself in the head with a suppressor, and had handcuff marks on his wrists. So when he was, the day of the bombing, he told his wife, they're not saying it is what it is. They're not telling the truth. They're lying about what's going on down there, because the building, he said it went in, not out, or something like that. Was it this article that says that? Ran about half a mile into a field or a grove of trees. And in the event that something happens to him, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah, so they're looking into this, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's something I think people still care about. That's the thing that the holders of secrets, they seem to release the information when people no longer care. It's like, there is no Area 51, there is no Area 51, there is no Area 51. Kill that guy, ruin that guy's life, ruin that guy's life. No. And then okay, there's Area 51. Like, yeah.
So the reason Oklahoma City happened is that was a federal building that had documents that were to be released for a case about Hillary.
I heard there was some connection to her in there.
Yes, there were documents in the building with evidence about her in the building. There were also babies on the top floor of YMCA. So, yeah, that was why that happened.
I remember when it happened, man.
Yep.
That was the first time we used domestic terrorist. That was the first I think time I ever heard it. Because like wasn't a thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a couple miles away, and I was working at an optometrist's office, and like the front whole wall had like big panes of glass, and the glass just went like this, like waves. Because the sound, the shock sound was so like carried that far, and just made we thought a plane was like landing on the building. We couldn't figure out like what was happening.
What's the only thing that can go through glass without breaking it?
Sound.
No, sound makes it vibrate and is changed.
It doesn't break the glass though.
Yeah,
sometimes it could, I guess.
Yeah, but also it's changed. It's like warped.
Light.
Yes, light is the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
Light is the only thing that can go through glass without breaking it or being changed or anything. All right.
A little science for you from Sean.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
All right. Take care, you guys.
Check us out on Thursday. We're watching Roundtable on Dragon Change channel. They're a freestyle.
Oh, I'm so glad.
It's very funny because the current events now are being brought back, but they're just being put at the end of the show instead of at the beginning.
Is Joe going to be back this week?
I don't know if he can,
that would be hilarious if he's back.
Yeah, he hasn't been around for a while. I think he.
No, ever since he voted to change the show.
I didn't know it had been that long, but
it has. It's been like a month, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't there this week. Did you?
I had an unfortunate event. I had to attend to.
A series of unfortunate events that made you have this unfortunate event.
Yeah.
To deal with.
But yeah. I will be there this Thursday. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What is freestyle? What is that?
There's no telling it, but I'm sure that John will come up with a fun.
Yeah, he wanted headshots for.
I sent him one,
but
I'm sure he'll come
tell
up
he's
with
like
a fun game.
You tell he's like in entertainment and stuff because he asked for a headshot and not a profile pic, which is what everyone else would say. But yeah.
Yeah.
You got a headshot.
Give me your headshot. For sure.
All right.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay, you guys hit the like button. Make sure leave a comment after it goes live so you're registered to win some crypto, which I'll still give away even though I'm broke. All right. You guys
my first half.
If you haven't already, go watch it.
If you haven't already, look up Litecoin Lisa on YouTube and watch it because we've got some.
You have to look her up. She's on my page. Just scroll down. She's one of the featured channels down there at the bottom.
Thanks, Sean.
All right. Speaking of Jamie Dimon,
Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud. It's a pet rocket.
You're back to that?
Yeah,
really?
Of course, yeah.
But it has all the characteristics of a store of value. It's immutable. It's scarce.
Totally untrue. It's
21 million.
Well, yeah, really. How do you know it's going to stop at 21 million?
Because
I've mentioned this to people.
Satoshi.
Everyone says that. Well, maybe it's going to get to 21 million, and then Satoshi's picture is going to come up and laugh at you.